Hi, my name is Kyle Ruddy, and we have recently released a preview of a great new resource which is full of first-class Sentinel policies. This is the Terraform Foundational Policies Library. It's publicly available on GitHub under the HashiCorp organization and contains roughly 50 pre-written policies based on benchmarks provided by the Center for Internet Security on some of the major cloud providers. We could find all kinds of great information in the README, but let's check out how easy it is to start applying policies to services such as GKE. Switching over to our Terraform Cloud Console, we have our pre-created QA Kubernetes workspace. Then the next thing that we need to do is start by applying some Sentinel policies. To do that, we need to ensure that we have a policy set created. In this case, I have done that already. This points out to a tf-kates policies repository that has one singular file by the name of sentinel.hcl. So we're going to start populating that file. We're going to go back out to our foundational policies library by clicking this link that's in our Terraform Cloud Console, and then starting by browsing out to our first the CIS folder, then GCP, and then lastly Kubernetes. Here we can see a listing of all the different policies, as well as some additional information about how those are configured within each of those directories. However, that's not where the power of this library really is. If we scroll down to the README, we can see some of these policies that have been listed out. So for instance, CIS 7.1, which is to ensure stack driver logging is set to enabled. Now to apply this Sentinel policy to our workspace, we can simply piece out this policy configuration there, which I've copied, move over to our editor of choice. In this case, I'm using Visual Studio Code, and then we can paste that directly into our sentinel.hcl file. Now the magic of everything that's happening here is due to this source field. This source field is going back out to our foundational policies library and referencing the Sentinel policy itself. But instead of just applying one, let's apply a couple. So let's scroll down and look at maybe ensuring that Kubernetes clusters are configured with labels. Copying that again, pasting that into our sentinel.hcl file, and then we're very security conscious, so let's choose one about basic authentication and making sure that that's disabled. We're back to that, and then we can also make use of our enforcement levels here. So we're going to change this one to be hard mandatory. Oops, hard mandatory. There we go. So we'll go ahead and save that, commit that to our local repository. And then with that, we will push it out to our GitHub repo. Now we're able to go back to our Terraform Cloud Console here. Going back into our QA Kubernetes workspace, we can start by simply hitting the Q plan button. This is going to take all of that Terraform configuration files that are in my repository and apply a plan to it. So after a few seconds, you can start seeing that it's going to plan to add 2 new resources. And then once that's complete, we're going to see it kick down into the policy check, where once that goes through and completes itself, we can see that we have the 3 policies that we copied over into our sentinel.hcl file. We can see the first one passed. That was our ensure stack driver logging is enabled. Then our second one hit the failed, but it was an advisory, so it still let us continue. And then lastly, our basic authentication failed our job. So if we scroll down here to the bottom, we can see that the apply will not run. So that was a brief walkthrough on how to get started with the Terraform Foundational Policies library, specifically for GKE. See the library's GitHub page for additional policies and information on getting started yourself. Thank you.